and gentlemen, this is Jay. Welcome back to the shop, Auto Exotica. And firstly, a Merry Christmas to all. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas, and a Happy New Year ahead. Hope everyone has a brilliant year ahead of them. And this video is probably a bit premature, but I get a little bit excited and I don't want to wait for the full video to come out with all of the fancy visuals and all that sort of stuff, which will be coming. But for now, I suppose the point is that I love this job in that it's always been my dream job to work on cars that I love, and it gives me a excuse to own or to buy and sell or to work on a lot of dream cars. And sometimes these dream cars aren't fancy. I mean, this R26 cost me about $5,000. And that's getting it very cheap, but these were always a dream car for me when I was 17 in the UK. Hot hatches generally were the thing. They're a good way to get into a performance car in a sort of affordable way, but when you're a new driver at 17, it would cost me £15,000 for the car, probably another $5,000 a year to insure it, plus running costs. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get the finance approved to do it. So when one came up at auction not too long ago, I had to snap it up, and it's been a project. It doesn't need a lot doing. I'm just going to tidy it up and it'll just sit in the shop for a little while to come yet. Also, the Focus XR5 that you might be able to see out the window. It's very sunny here. Again, these were sold as the Focus ST in the UK, and I absolutely loved them from the minute I saw them. If you YouTube the Top Gear video that Clarkson did, it was the epitome of why I loved these cars. I just couldn't get one at the time. So it's really cool that in the shop I get to experience a lot of cars that I could only dream about. We've got some real cool stuff coming too. We've got the Nismo Z. So when that comes, there'll be a full review and a video and lots of fancy footage around the track of that. Can't wait. We have our Ranger Raptor, which has been about 13 months at this point. We've been waiting patiently, but that'll be hitting the shop soon as our new shop support car run around sort of thing. And my wife is getting the Civic Type R. And when we went to see it, I was actually pretty jealous because it's an amazing car in person. It drove fantastically. Photos do not do it justice, so she's excited. I'm excited for her, but hopefully we'll get some videos with her to get her opinion on that. And yeah, like I say, I get to drive a lot of dream cars in the shop. Of course, the shop's R35 GTR I've done a video or two on, including a really in-depth one, which I haven't posted yet. But again, it's a car in 2008 I couldn't have dreamt of owning. Managed to get it, and it's just been a complete dream car for me. It's actually, yeah, it's an amazing car. I could go on all day. But so it's nice to be able to get dream cars in the shop that I don't have to look forward to selling sort of really quickly, or turning them over, or giving back the keys to clients. Of course, the 911 Gembalo is another one of those sort of cars that was acquired, but recently I've actually managed to pick up what for me is a dream car, and it is this green beast behind me here. And this, of course, is a late model McLaren 650S. And you hopefully get why I couldn't wait to share the full video for you. Because to me, this is the epitome of a supercar. And personally, I do not think there is a bad angle on this car. I think a lot of people preferred the more subdued looks of the MP412C. To me, I think this front end has aged beautifully. I mean, these came out in, I may be wrong, 2015. This is a 2017 that wasn't registered until 2018. So it's actually registered as a 2018 car. It has only 800 kilometers on the clock. So it was owned by a bit of a collector. As you can see, the condition is fantastic. And of course, you have the 3.7 twin turbo V8 engine, which sits in there, because it is, of course, a mid-engined supercar. It puts it at 0 to 100 in around 2.9 seconds, which is a little bit more than the GTR, which of course has been modified to a similar power output. That's putting out about 700 horsepower because it has all-wheel drive, of course. But that's about where the comparison ends, because as much as I love that thing around the track, I've had a brief play with this and everything is just so visceral. It is literally like going into a go-kart from the GTR. The steering is so direct. The pickup in pace as soon as you get to 100 Ks and beyond is just insane. You've of course got the active aero, which also acts as an air brake if you're really pushing on at the track, which I hope to find out pretty soon. I love the high exit exhaust, which the rear end is shared with the MP4 12C. In the 570S, you had a much more curvaceous rear end. I actually really prefer this rear end combined with the new front. I think it is just such a balanced look compared to the 570. That's just me personally, which is, of course it would be, I bought one. But I think they're just such a good blend. And of course, being a supercar, for me, it is all about the sense of occasion, which with these upright doors, it just reminds me of that McLaren F1 model that I had. Of course, you're not sitting in the middle, but it's a close second for me. And really silly, because for me, a supercar is all about the drive. You want that added flair and that added look and that added sense of occasion, but I don't personally buy cars because they're flashy, which is exactly, funnily enough, why I didn't go for a Ferrari 488. I had an opportunity to get a 488 for a similar price to this 650. Some would say that would have been the better decision, but to me, the 488 just didn't quite grab me. I love the sort of form over function, the whole prestige and brand prestige. I mean, a Ferrari is a Ferrari, but it's not why I buy a car. And jumping into the 650, I just immediately felt at home. I immediately loved the way it drove. I would sooner go for a 458 over a 488. That's just me personally. I love that high screaming natural V8. But again, it didn't make sense that a 458 costs about the same as a 488. And the 488 I didn't enjoy as much as this, so I could get basically a brand new 650S or lump into a Ferrari. The alternative that I was really looking forward to was another dream car of mine, a Gallardo. The standard Gallardo just didn't feel special enough for me. The Gallardo Superleggero is what I would really want, but again, price-wise, it was probably a bit cheaper than this, but trying to find the right spec, the right color, the right kilometers, it's just something that will happen when it happens. So, but again, I just wouldn't have enjoyed. I've driven several Legeros. I absolutely love them. They're really visceral. I love that natural screaming V10, gated manual, really engaging, but it just wasn't a patch on the 650. There was just no comparison between the two. Completely different cars, and yeah, for something that I want to use on the track, something that I'll use as a Sunday driver, it's got such a good blend of drivability and performance, which again, the performance was leagues ahead of the 458, leagues ahead of a Gallardo, which you'd expect being a much newer car, forced induction. Years more development has gone into this car over those older gen cars, so you can't really compare the two, but that's why I ended up going for this over a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. And I'm not gonna lie, the doors did do the sense of occasion for me. I get the same feeling looking at this that I used to get looking at my model of the McLaren F1, and that's a hard thing to come by. And again, that P1 inspired front end that went on the 650. Some people prefer the older, blander look of the MP4. I think it looks phenomenal personally. And like I say, I love the sense of occasion, but I also love that once you climb into the McLaren, it's really simplistic. It's quite Spartan in here. And I love that. I mean, you don't need the Ferrari badges everywhere. You don't need to be reminded what model of car that you're driving. It's just very focused and very simplistic. You've got a bit of suede on the dash. You've got no glove box. Here isn't even a solid piece. You've obviously got your cup holders, which sit under this panel here. And Other than that, you get a tacho right ahead of you. You get 2 minimalistic displays adjoining each side of the tacho. It's only got 1,200 kilometers on it. I've already put 50% on because it was 800 when I bought it. And everything is just so perfectly accessible and driver focused. Even the way that you only get one center air vent, because they assume, I suppose, that you're just going to mostly be diverting that to yourself. You've got a really basic display, but it does everything that you need to. The nav only functions off of your mobile, so it's sort of minimalistic again. You've got your media, your voice. That is literally about it. This car has the worst reversing camera that I've ever seen on a car. It comes up landscape of all things and is about that high and is very low resolution, but again, it does the job. And yes, it doesn't have that extra bit of quality to be a really high definition camera, but why do you need it? So, and that seems to be the ethos of this car, which I just absolutely love. You've got your dynamic controls down here. Of course, you basically control your ride and your drivetrain. So you put it up to T for track, S for sport, N for normal. In normal mode for the suspension, it is exceptionally smooth. You'd think that you were in a Camry almost or something, and it's so smooth, but yet it still gives you enough feedback. You dial it up to sport or track and you can literally sense what kind of surface you're driving on. And to quote Jeremy Clarkson, whether they've used matte or gloss on some of the paint on the road. Other than that, you literally have a few buttons for basically go backwards, or go in neutral. And of course, you can put it into manual mode or enable the aero. Of course, manual mode, use these pedals right here. I find it really comfy in here. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so I've got heaps of headroom, but even someone that's 6 foot, a little bit taller than me, you'll have a mission climbing in and out of the car, but once you're in, you'll be pretty comfy. I do intend on getting a Quicksilver exhaust, which I think will just add that more racy sound to it. But despite what a few people have said, I think it sounds pretty great as standard. This car does come equipped with the adaptive ride height. I don't think you should be buying one of these cars without the lift on it. It does sit very low, even without all the extra carbon aero that this car has. So yeah, it just gives you that extra bit of flexibility. A couple of times I've been out and about and I've come across a ramp going for some food and things like that, that I just wouldn't have had the confidence to negotiate if I didn't have the ride height. That's it from me and my new supercar for the moment. We've got some real cool videos coming up that will be done on the track, on some country roads, some first point of view stuff, to just give you a full ownership perspective, what it's like to drive, what it's like to own long term. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll get to compare it to some of the cars I didn't buy, including the 488, the Huracan, which I was looking at for a period. I decided I wanted something that was rear-wheel drive. I've got an all-wheel drive beast. I know it's a V6, not a V10, and it's twin turbo, not naturally aspirated, but I just wanted something lighter and nimbler. And I think I've picked the right car that ticks all the boxes for what I was looking for personally. And I think it's nice as well that it's got that connection for me emotionally, because my dad was involved with the McLaren F1 road car project, which I think I might have mentioned a couple of times by now. So it was always this story that he used to like to tell me. And this car gives me that same level of excitement that I had the first time I saw a McLaren F1 on the road. It was Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Beans, and I saw it, Dad told me the stories, and it was just, for me, it was the pinnacle that you could get as a supercar. So I love that this gives me that same feeling. It doesn't get older, it hasn't yet. It still literally gives me that excitement that I used to get as a schoolboy seeing a McLaren F1. It feels sort of surreal to reach back in time, take that poster off the wall, pick up that model car and supersize it and put it in your own garage and get that same feeling. So yeah, it's a brilliant thing. Like my kids love it, they're sitting in it, and it just gives you like this real nice feeling. So I know millionaires and billionaires buy them and sell them like commodities. They change them as quickly as they change their watches and things like that. For me, as a petrol head, the connection with the car is a lot deeper. I know that'll sound ridiculous to a lot of people, but to me it's definitely a thing. Yeah, I feel like I do have quite a connection with that car. Absolutely love it. But yeah, other than that, we will be changing that little louver there for a carbon fiber one. I've got the part, came with the car. It's a pain in the ass to fit, which is why the dealer didn't fit it. You got to rip apart the back end to install it. So I'll wait until I get the new exhaust, which I think will be a Quicksilver unit out of the UK, unless I see something else that takes my fancy by the time I take a trip back there. So I'll do the exhaust and that little grille at the same time. The wheels I would like to change at some point. There's nothing wrong with them. Carbon fiber wheels I love. I don't love the price. So we'll find a middle ground, something that just fits the theme of the car. And of course we will be doing a full PPF kit using our own PPF. It will probably have to be hand done to get maximum coverage, so we don't have those edges that you'll get with a template, but also because the carbon fiber of course is all custom, so there won't be a template available for all that stuff. So we'll document all that too, walk you through the process and show you the results. I could really do with a favor if anyone has seen a Mantis Green McLaren with a frozen or matte PPF or a stealth PPF. I'd love to see the photos, because I'm trying to decide if I keep it looking gloss and show off the green exactly as it is, or if I go that matte look, that frozen look, which some people say is overdone. I think it's overdone because it does still look great on so many cars. I'm just not convinced that this color will look good hidden. So if anyone has seen that, I would love to see it. Other than that, I just need to fix this fuel cap here, because McLaren used the cheapest retaining latch in the world, and before I bought it, the detailer went over the car with a polisher, probably a DA polisher. Lots of vibration, broke the latch. So now the fuel cap on my supercar is now held shut with a bit of double-sided tape. So complete first world problem. It's only a $100 part at the maximum. Just a bit annoying, but other than that, so far so good. So like I say, we'll have many more videos to come, I'm sure. Thanks for watching, and yeah, feel free to chuck us a like or subscribe if you want to see the developments of the Big Mac as we go. Thanks again, have a great New Year's.